Uncharted movie. Yes, I'm too late. 2 months late, but it's okay. I got a lot to say about this movie. So, I understand the material completely, you know. So when I found out that they were doing an Uncharted movie, I was kind of excited until I found out that the cast for Nathan Drake was Tom Holland. Right there, my heart stops. And this movie comes out, you know, and I'm still gonna give it hope. But after I saw the movie, I was completely let down. So let's start from the beginning. What's wrong with this movie? Well, there are a lot of things. First, the casting choice. Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. This guy doesn't look like Nathan Drake, you know. He's too young to be Nathan Drake. I understand that this movie is a prequel, but I'm still kind of ups and downs with this version of Nathan Drake. But the real problem is on Mark Wahlberg's Victor's living. He doesn't feel like Victor. He doesn't look like Victor. He's just a normal Mark Wahlberg character. There's nothing identical about Victor's living in Mark Wahlberg. Now, let's discuss about the plot. Well, if you are making an Uncharted movie, it should be simple, right? Nathan Drake and Victor Sullivan both search for treasure. In this movie, the plot is the search for the treasure of Santiago Moncada, played by Antonio Banderas, which is the main antagonist for this movie. And I'm completely fine with the plot. But I'm going to discuss the villain played by Antonio Banderas. He doesn't get anything. He doesn't get any character building, character moment. None of that happens in this movie. He just talks about his father 4 times in 4 different scenes. Are you kidding me? And at the midpoint of the movie, he gets killed by one of his henchmen. This is just laziness. The plot right there from that point gets out of the way, you know. Now, I'm just hoping for the action to get good. And you know what? This movie doesn't have a lot of action as I want it to be. There are just very few scenes that contains action sequences, actual action sequences inspired by the game. There is a plane chase scene and plane fight scene from the Uncharted movie, from the Uncharted 3 in this movie. And you know what? They illustrate that a lot, you know. They borrowed elements from the video games and just dropped it right here without changing anything, absolutely anything. So the action is what we have seen all these times throughout the Uncharted video games. And it just doesn't work for me. If you want to make an Uncharted movie, you may borrow the elements from video games, but you have to change some things to make the people who have played the video games still find some new things in this movie and still find some enjoyment throughout. And yeah, the chemistry between Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg's Sullivan is non-existent in this movie. They just argued for the whole movie, too much talking. And the pacing in the story is bad. It's super slow. It bores me, man. You know, the video games had a lot of action sequences involving other environments. But what they did, just duplicating those action scenes into a movie without changing anything at all. So I am a player of the Uncharted games, and I know this, which is it doesn't feel right, you know. At least there is one particular action scenes that purely out of this movie. It doesn't take any inspiration from the games, but that's just one short fight scene. In this movie, there's nothing, no elements to enjoy, no new elements that isn't copied from the games. So yeah, if you want to have a better Uncharted experience, play the games instead of watching this movie. Because by watching this movie, you can't find who the characters are, you can't find the motivation, what they're doing, why are they doing things like this. But in the video games, from Uncharted 1 to all the way to 4, you can get a lot of character development throughout the video games. And they're so much fun to play the video games. So, what do I think about the Uncharted movie? Well, I didn't enjoy it. So, with that instead, I'm going to give 4 out of 10 for Uncharted. This movie actually did not satisfy me at all. See you on the next video. Bye bye.